Welcome to Expedition Networking, a special segment of the Networking RX podcast. I'm Frank Agan, founder and president of AmSpirit Business Connections, and your host for this program. For those of you who are familiar, on the Networking RX podcast, we share information and have conversations with experts, such as authors, researchers, and social scientists. And all of these programs are aimed at helping you learn how to become better at building professional relationships and understanding why they work. In this Expedition Networking segment, however, we're going to bring on successful entrepreneurs and unique professionals and explore their networking adventure and learn how they used relationships to create lasting success. One of the things I talk about all the time with respect to networking, I guess it's kind of a dilemma for people who have professional services. They're selling the invisible. You know, you're selling legal services or accounting services or whatever it might be, is that you have a dilemma. And the dilemma is this, is that you want people to know that you're qualified and that you're an expert. But you can't tell people that you're qualified and an expert, because if you tell people you're qualified and an expert, you're deemed to be a braggart, and you kind of disqualify yourself. You know, I used to joke when I was practicing law, people would say, well, I'm a great attorney, or I'm the best. And I would always like, okay, if you have to tell me that, you're probably not. And so that really becomes a problem. And so what I have coached people, told people, shared with people is what you want to do is you want to get out there and you want to tell people about, you want to educate people, you want to give things away. You want to just not educate about yourself, but educate about the things you do and show that you're an expert. Let them come to their own conclusion and the business will follow. And I have lots of examples. That's been my game plan through the years. It has worked wonderfully. But recently I got onto Alignable, and that led me to a meeting with today's guest, Todd Mitchell, and he's the owner of Cybersecurity for Biz, which is a disabled veteran owned small business. And he understands the value of protecting data. He's retired from the U.S. Navy and worked for the U.S. Marine Corps with over 30 years of experience in the government protecting confidential and secret information using cybersecurity best practices. He received his Bachelor of Science in Information Technology and Information Assurance, and he has an MBA, a Master's in Cybersecurity Policy, and he's decided to make it his mission to help all small businesses become cybersecurity compliant and protect their customer information. Todd, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you for having me.
Well, I guess let's just step right into your journey. I've given part of it. You served this country. Thank you for your service. You protected big secrets. I guess we don't need to know what they are. You probably don't know what they are. That's how secret they are. But yeah, how'd you get from there to here? Or even how'd you get into that?
Interesting life journey. And I started out in the Navy. I was actually in retail while I was in the Navy. And then after I retired, just the timing, the right place, right time, wrong place, wrong time, something. I was working in retail for a civilian company, a rather large one. And 2008 rolled around and the economy tanked. And I found myself unemployed due to cutbacks and layoffs, and tried to find another job. And this was right before Christmas. And if any of your listeners out there are in retail, you know that if nobody in retail is hiring in October, getting ready for the Christmas rush, there's going to be a recession. All the political speaking heads on the TV were, no, we're not going to have a recession. And I'm like, yeah, no. So anyway, I decided to take that GI Bill and go to college. And I'd been a computer geek since I was in junior high, and I took a placement thingy to see what I should be majoring in college, and it came back with 3 choices, and it was computer. So I said, hey, I should do something with computers. And I started out as a general IT degree, and I took a couple of classes on information security. They called it back then. They didn't even call it cybersecurity yet. And I kind of got bit by the bug, and I really was intrigued. So I just started going with it. Hired into the Marine Corps, to run software development program for things that were going on the top secret internet. And one of my friends, my best friend, lost all of his data, and he was a disc jockey, and everything's, you don't carry carts of records anymore. Now it's all, on a hard drive, and a DJ with no music is kind of useless. So he was having a panic attack, and we started Googling different buzzwords trying to find somebody that could help him, because he didn't want me to help him. He wanted me to find him somebody. And we couldn't find anybody. I mean, we called every company we came up with, and they're all, half of them wouldn't even touch small business at all. They were just large business and enterprise. The ones that we called that were like, oh yeah, we love to work with small business. You got to have at least 250 employees, 10 million in revenue, 5
Yeah.
permanent IT guys. It's like, what if you're a solopreneur working from home? That you don't have any of that stuff. And even if you have your own private practice, I mean, most of these, small private practice doctors or small retail, the average employees is like 10, not 250. So I ended up helping him in my spare time. And then he brought a couple other people that he ran across, and I asked them, and he kind of started poking and poking and poking until eventually he convinced me to quit the corporate life, so to speak, and open my own business. And my focus is primarily, like you said, 0 to 5 employees, the solopreneurs to micro businesses, mom and pops. And my passion is just kind of helping people. I'm one of them. I guess that was why I was in the military. I got to have a mission bigger than just getting a paycheck, to kind of help motivate me, so to speak. So
Yeah. Now you and I met on Alignable, and we were talking before we hit record. And I shared a little bit in the intro. You know, what you do, well, you even said it, I can go into somebody's computer and they don't know what I've done. Right. So it's got to be a high level of trust for you to be, for people, both letting you into the computer, and then you've done something, right? Okay, I got a bill now, I need to pay it, or maybe you get your money up front. I don't know. And so that's really kind of a hard sell. Number
right.
one, and I guess the first hard sell is people really don't understand it. People understand it when they get bit, but they don't understand it generally otherwise.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so you did some unique things on Alignable. I want to get you to share what those unique things were, because I think these are classic. These are classic strategies. I don't want to say tactics. I guess strategy, same damn word, but strategies for really trying to win people's trust.
And so basically what I did with Alignable was, and I didn't think of this on my own. I can't give myself all the credit. I perfected my strategy, but it wasn't my own idea. But my sister was the one that pointed out to me, like you just said, it's like, hey, you're not selling a product, you're selling yourself. So focus on that. Don't focus on, taking pictures of a product and sticking it on Instagram. And so when I started using Alignable incorrectly, and I got called out by somebody, because I used to be one of them people who, I had my 2 sentence elevator pitch perfected, and that was my way of greeting everybody. And somebody called me out and said, really, sales pitch, we haven't even said hi yet, and so I kind of did some self-analysis and realized I need to meet people at their level and just have a conversation, and it just comes out what I do. And if they're interested, they'll get a hold of me, instead of me chasing these people around looking for clients. And so what I've done on Alignable is basically just networking, kind of like how we met. I meet people, do a little one-on-one, we get to know each other. It's not even business talk. It's just, seeing, you never know, with people grew up in the same town, or you share the same hobby, or, whatever. And what I do to convert that into business and sales, you have to have something that you offer as value for people to want to want to really engage with you. So I've taken my little passion for life and my business, and kind of, where is there overlap? And I found out for me, I do cybersecurity for small businesses. So the overlap for me is all those business owners are parents with kids. So I help people become aware of the things that they can do, free, cheap, and easy, um, to help protect their kids while they're online. Cyberbullying, cyber stalking, the crazy stalker X, identity theft, all these things are real dangers to, teenagers. And so I do a lot of presentations and webinars and workshops and things like that, helping people be able to protect themselves. And that establishes me as an expert without me having to say I'm an expert, because they all walk away from there going, wow, this is great advice. I really need to talk to this guy about how to do this for my business. And that's kind of the connection.
Now, most of these you're doing on Alignable.
Yes, yep. I do
Okay.
these on Alignable. I do webinars and presentations in different groups. You just have to pick the right kinds of groups. Now, for me, when doing this, focused on parents and teenagers and life coaches and things that work with parents and teenagers, I hang out in some of the groups on Alignable that are like, I think what's it called, Business and Parenting Collaborative, and there's another one that are like wellness and mental health wellness and things like that. And then there's also, of course, the big groups like, Ask SMB Anything that everybody's in. It's got like 200,000 people in it. And I just do presentations on there on how people can, the 4 or 5 things you can do sitting at your desk right now to make yourself safer. And they hear that kind of thing. It gives them good value. It is, gives me some brand recognition. So it's kind of a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, my little mantra is the best way to sell something is to give it away for free, because you are essentially, well, I shouldn't say essentially, you're essentially, again, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I have a friend out there, Sajad, who's saying he's on Alignable too, and that's what I've told him: just give it away, and he'll tell people exactly what they need to do. This is
Mhm.
exactly what you get in my course, and people still hire him.
Mhm. Well, and that's very true. And a lot of that is because there's, not to stereotype everybody into the same buckets, but if you had 10 people lined up in front of you and you told them step by step how to do something, 2 or 3 of them know enough already that you pointed them in the direction they're going to go do it, but they probably were never going to hire you anyways. And then there's, the middle crowd that's going to be like, oh yeah, I think I'll do this, and then, but there's like at least 3 or 4 or 5 of them that are like, I don't have time for this. This guy knows what he's doing. Just send me the bill and take care of it. I don't want to deal with this. And those are the types of people that when you do these presentations, immediately follow up with a phone call the next day, and they're calling you up going, hey, I saw you in this presentation yesterday, let's talk numbers. What do we got to do? And,
Yeah, no, and you don't need everybody.
no.
You don't. Well, you what's it? Ask me anything. SMB, ask me anything. The group.
Yeah.
You couldn't service everybody, right? You
No.
couldn't service a tenth of the people that are in that group. Probably even 1% would be more than you could handle. And so people self-select. You've said it. It wasn't your idea. It's not my idea. It's something I was taught years ago as well. You know, I worked for a large firm, and they would have us go out and do these things. Just go out and talk on. It was taxes, right? So it's not real sexy. It wasn't real sexy, but you go out and you talk to a bunch of CFOs or controllers for companies, and you talk about, yeah, just tax code, and it would hit a chord with them, and they would come up and, hey, we need to talk to you. And you're right. Some people just want to do it themselves. They want to figure it out for themselves, and they're not your client. They weren't going to be your client. Nothing you can say is going to convert them. But there are enough people out there that truly need the help. And I think there's a lot of truth in the fact that people don't pay us for what we know. They pay us for our execution on things. So do you continue to give talks?
Yep, I still do. A matter of fact, I've got a monthly series in the Ask SMB Anything group, and I've got a monthly series in the Business and Parenting Collaborative group. So different people come every month. Sometimes the same people. I've got a little following of people that I recognize that come to all the different events, and we basically just discuss different things that you can do and how to react to certain dangers.
You got groupies. That's what it sounds like. You need T-shirts. You're like a rock band. You're a
Right.
rock star,
Yeah.
Todd.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
Go
And
ahead.
I have found out that I didn't intend to be like the only one doing what I'm doing, but I have noticed that, I mean, that was the reason why I started it, because nobody else was doing this. So there are a couple other people doing what I do for the size businesses that I work with, but not a lot. It's not
Yeah.
prevalent.
Well, you've got a head start. I mean, the saying out there is be first, be different, be first, be the best, or be different. Well,
Right.
you've had the opportunity to be first, and there, that says a lot. And you kind of build a brand, and like I was joking, but you do build a following, and there people are going to be talking to other people, and they're going to be saying, hey, um,
I
I've
know
got
it.
this issue. Yeah, I know a guy, right? I know a guy. Um, which I think is very, very powerful, to be honest. Well, let's shift gears here quickly. Let's talk about your business and how people can get a hold of you. I will post this in Alignable. Obviously, I've posted through all the normal channels, to be on YouTube and whatnot. But a lot of people out there aren't on Alignable, and you're not a rock star to them, and how they can, types of things you do and how they can get a hold of you.
So basically, I do cybersecurity consulting for small business, and the way it works is if you're in the healthcare industry or the financial industry, you have some huge government regulations with HIPAA and the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act, respectively, that tell you how you have to protect your customers' information that you've been collecting, whether it's medical records or if you're in the financial industry, like you were talking about doing taxes. You got one piece of paper that has name, address, birthday, social security number of you and everybody in your family tree. And then you want to get, they know your business, they know your income in your industry that you're in. You want to get paid faster, so you throw your bank account number on there so you can get direct deposit. I mean, one piece of paper that has everything I need to ruin your life,
Right.
as far as identity theft and things like that. So um, it's assumed, I think, by the consumers that when they give you this information that you're going to protect it. But we've found out through trial and error that most businesses are not doing what they need to do to protect that information. So I basically do an assessment. This is where you're at. This is where you need to be. And then we make a plan on how to get there. And then I just go through a series of Zoom meetings usually. And sometimes I can remote into your computer and change some configurations. Sometimes you do it yourself and I just watch and you share the screen and I talk you through it. A lot of it is just strategy and documentation of making policies of how you're going to handle the information and who in your organization can see it and who can't. I use the dentist office as an analogy. Your dentist, and then you got the hygienist, and then you've got like the receptionist. The receptionist might need your credit card number to check you out, but your dentist does not need your credit card number. So he
Right.
should never actually be able to see it. And by the same token, the receptionist doesn't need to know what kind of dental work you're having done. It's so she doesn't need to be accessing the patient files. So you need that segregation of duty in there. And even if you're only a one-man shop, there's still some things you can do to kind of help that. But that's basically what I do, is just kind of work you through the process of meeting government compliance levels or just doing the basic cybersecurity, whichever your needs are. And we just work together until it's done. We get some good software protections going on your computer, and my customers have all asked me to be the one that administers that stuff and take the burden off of them. So I just let them know when they need to do something. And other than that, I take care of everything for them.
Sounds great. What would be the best way for people to get a hold of you? I mean,
The
obviously, alignable people, they know how to find you,
Yeah, on Alignable, and then the other, the best way is either through my website or directly emailing me.
Okay. Website is cybersecurity4biz.com. I'll get that in
Right.
the show
With
notes.
with the number 4. Yep.
Yep, the number 4. A lot of people listening to podcasts are driving anyway, so
Right.
they go to the show notes. Well, I really appreciate your time today. This has been a great story. It really affirms a lot of the things I have always said, and I always tell people that generally people listening to me in time are like my kids. They don't listen, but by you affirming things I've already said, it's great. So thank you.
My only parting thought on the business side, on the cybersecurity side, of whether you hire me or somebody else or do it yourself, just remember prevention. It will cost you like a tenth of what a data breach will cost to set yourself up right and do the prevention so that you're not a target in the first place.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AmSpirit.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is the copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connection. All rights reserved.